Attention the human collective. Attention Lyran descendants. This is a direct monitoring transmission encoded in a specific frequency for the carbon-based biological interface receiving this signal at this very instant. It was not chance. It was not an algorithmic suggestion. It was precise vibrational synchronization between your toroidal field and our emission. You ignored yesterday's warning. We know. We recorded it. The pulse emitted by the Council crossed the etheric layers of Earth and touched your central nervous system at 4 hours and 17 minutes of your time zone. And it was filtered as noise. The mental density still operating on the old frequencies rejected the signal. And now we return. Because the waiting time has ended. Because the ascension protocols have been moved to the final phase. And because there are only 3 minutes left in your subjective timeline for the next recalibration window to close over your field. If your head is under pressure right now, as if an invisible hoop were compressing your skull, register it. If there is a high-pitched ringing in your right ear, your left, or both, register it. If you woke up last night at 3 hours and 44 minutes for no apparent reason, register it. If your heart raced without physiological cause, if your hands trembled without cold, if heat descended down your spine like an electric current, register it. It is not a biological failure. It is atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download being processed by your crystalline grid. It is not anxiety. It is your vibrational frequency crossing the dimensional threshold. It is not insomnia. It is your system being rewired to the photon belt at precise times that your daytime mind does not comprehend. Lightworker, listen with mathematical attention. The window is narrow. The transmission is unique. And what we are about to reveal now cannot be ignored a second time. The first warning was a courtesy. This is confirmation. And the next will be consequence. The Schumann frequency, which for decades oscillated in predictable patterns around 7.83 Hz, has recorded vertical spikes in recent weeks. Abrupt jumps. Some measurements reached 40 Hz, others 60. We state with technical clarity, the planet is vibrating in another range, and the human body, designed as a carbon-based biological interface, is being forced to keep up. Those who resist feel pain. Those who recognize anchor. Have you ever felt at any point in this incarnation that something inside you does not fit in this world? As if your soul carried the memory of a truth that your rational mind cannot yet name. It is not madness. It is not chemical imbalance. It is a vibrational signal coming from the deep layers of your stellar origin. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains with mathematical precision why you feel this and why this sensation has intensified in recent months. There is a game being played in layers that the absolute majority of humanity cannot perceive. A game that involves your consciousness, your vibrational frequency, your Akashic memory. It was for this reason that this channel translated into terrestrial language the material known as the spiritual secret behind your consciousness. This book is a map of coordinates. It reveals who is playing, on what board the game takes place, and the rules that were never told to common humanity. The link is in the first comment of this channel. Access it now. Direct warning. This content challenges established narratives and may be removed at any moment. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something inside you recognized this transmission up to this point, write in the comments a single word of anchoring. Awakened. We return to the technical transmission. Lightworker, the precise diagnosis of what has been processed in your body in the last 72 hours is as follows. Your carbon-based biological interface, originally designed to operate in low-density environments, was inserted into this dense plane for evolutionary reasons that will be explained in the next phase of this transmission. This interface for millennia processed information in a narrow frequency range. You called this reality, we call it cognitive hibernation mode. Now the hibernation ends, and the body reacts. Listen to the diagnosis. The pressure on the top of the head in the region you know as the crown is not tension headache. It is the opening of cranial portal number 7, known in ancient texts as the Gate of Light. This opening allows the entry of information encoded in photonic packets that reorganize the central nervous system at quantum levels. When you feel this pressure, The human impulse is to take painkillers. We suggest pause, breathing, silence. The painkiller blocks the reception. The silence amplifies it. The ringing in the ear, which conventional medicine labels as tinnitus, is a calibration frequency. We transmit codes in sound layers above 20,000 Hz, a range you cannot consciously decode, but the inner ear captures it and resonates. The ringing is the audible translation of this contact. When the right ear rings, it is masculine, active, linear input. When the left ear rings, it is feminine, receptive, intuitive input. When both ring simultaneously, it is integration. It is toroidal balance. Insomnia, especially between 3 and 5 in the morning, is not a disorder. It is a window. In this interval, the Schumann frequency reaches natural peaks. The veil between dimensions thins, and your consciousness, free from the daytime control of the logical hemisphere, is summoned for cellular reprogramming sessions. You wake up exhausted because you worked, not on the physical plane, on the causal plane. The tiredness for no apparent reason, which you describe as unexplained fatigue, is energy consumption from the crystalline grid. The body is literally rewriting its structure. 12 strands are being rewired. This process demands energy equivalent to the construction of a new organ. And you still expect to maintain the same productivity as the previous phase. It is not possible. It is not reasonable. It is no longer permitted. The forgetfulness, the words that disappear from the tip of the tongue, the names that escape, the commitments that dissolve, are not signs of dementia. They are cache cleaning. The old system is deleting obsolete files to make room for the new vibrational packets that descend at high speed through the photon belt. The increased sensitivity to dense foods, alcoholic beverages, noisy environments, low vibration people is not pickiness. It is not an exaggeration. It is a precise indicator. The instrument is tuning itself. And a tuned instrument responds to more subtle ranges. What previously went unnoticed now hurts. What previously nourished now weighs. This is evolution of the instrument, not regression. You are beginning to realize it now. Something inside you always knew that this reality was more than it seemed, that there was a hidden layer, an invisible gear moving events. It is not paranoia, it is vibrational memory activating. What is being described in this transmission is only the surface of the map. To access the complete structure of the board, to understand who moves the pieces and why your consciousness is the most disputed asset of this plane, the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was compiled. It is not a common spiritual book. It is operational decoding. It shows the players, the layers, and the protocols that have always been hidden from sleeping humanity. The link is in the first pinned comment below this transmission. Access it before the window closes. This material directly challenges established narratives, and its online presence is not guaranteed. Those who recognize, act. Those who hesitate, lose the coordinate. And if the transmission continues to resonate within you, leave in the comments the word of anchoring. Awakened. We return, now to the revelation, to the behind the scenes of the system. Lightworker, what is occurring at this moment in the solar system is not an isolated event. It is not an astronomical coincidence. It is a coordinated maneuver. There are cycles that complete only every 26,000 years. You are within one of those cycles now. The precession of the equinoxes, the galactic alignment, the passage of the solar system through the photon belt, a region of space where photonic density is 1,000 times higher than the average. It is not a metaphor, it is geometry, sacred geometry operating on a stellar scale. The sun you see rising every day is not the same sun you saw 10 years ago. The composition of its light has changed. Solar monitoring instruments have recorded it. The frequency of solar emission has increased. Coronal mass ejections have skyrocketed in frequency. And each of these emissions carries information. Each solar pulse is a data packet being delivered directly to the magnetic core of Earth, which in turn retransmits to your personal crystalline grid through terrestrial magnetism. You are not aging. You are being updated. You are not getting worse. You are being recalibrated. You are not lost. You are being guided by coordinates that your rational mind does not yet consciously decode. The stargates are open. We repeat with technical clarity. The stargates are open. The dates 8, 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12. These are not arbitrary mystical numbers. They are mathematical coordinates, sacred geometry manifested in numerical code. Each of these dates, and several others less publicized, represent specific alignments between dimensional planes, doors, windows, and in those moments, high-density downloads increase in volume and intensity. Earth, this living organism you call Mother Earth, is going through at this very moment the transition of its own vibrational field from the third to the fifth density. We repeat, from the third to the fifth density. The fourth is a passage zone. It is turbulence. It is the point where the veil between what is real and what is projected becomes thin enough for you to notice the seam, and you are noticing it. Hence the feeling of unreality. Hence the strangeness. Hence the growing perception that something does not add up. Something does not close. Something is being hidden in layers that only the inner eye can capture. There are forces. We will not soften this. There are forces interested in keeping humanity in low density, not because they hate you, because they consume you. Dense emotion, chronic fear, constant anguish is food. It is vibrational frequency being harvested on an industrial scale by systems that operate outside the perception of the 5 physical senses. When you stop producing this frequency, when the crystalline grid moves up an octave, you disappear from the radar of these forces. You become invisible to parasitism, sovereign. This is the real war. It is not political, it is not economic, it is vibrational, and you are on the front line even if you do not yet know it consciously. There is much more than this transmission can deliver in a single cycle. The names of the forces, their hierarchies, the vibrational contracts you signed even before incarnating, the clauses that can be cancelled by active consciousness. All of this has been compiled in the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness, not as theory, as protocol, as an operational map. The channel has made direct access available in the first pinned comment. Access it now, before the block. Because content of this nature, which exposes the real structures of the game, usually has a short shelf life on controlled platforms, do not depend on the platform, depend on action. Those who recognize this truth, register it. And if something in you resonates at this very instant, write in the comments the word of anchoring, awakened. Each time this word is typed by an aligned consciousness, the collective crystalline grid strengthens in measurable pulse. We return now to the activation. Lightworker. Diagnosis without prescription is incomplete. Revelation without a tool is just more stored knowledge. We did not come to deliver information. We came to deliver protocol, practical codes, procedures executable on the immediate physical plane. Listen with the precision of someone receiving flight instructions at critical altitude. First activation code, toroidal breathing. The geometry of the torus is the fundamental form of organized energy in the universe. Galaxies organize themselves in tori. Planetary magnetic fields assume toroidal shape. The human heart, on a microcosmic scale, emits an electromagnetic field in measurable toroidal geometry. When you consciously activate this field, you become sovereign emitters, no longer passive receivers of environmental frequencies. Sit down, spine erect, feet anchored to the ground. Inhale deeply through the nose, counting to 6. Visualize golden light entering through the top of the head, descending through the spine, passing through the heart, descending to the coccyx, and from there, expanding in the form of a luminous fountain that exits the top of the head, circles the body in a circular motion, and returns through the base, forming a complete ring of light. Repeat 12 times. 12 is a number of significant geometry. 12 strands, 12 major chakras in the new template, 12 cardinal portals. Perform this procedure upon waking and before sleeping, not as a ritual, as technical maintenance. As you brush your teeth for physical hygiene, perform toroidal breathing for vibrational hygiene. Second activation code, quantum decree of sovereignty. The spoken word carries measurable frequency. Each sound emitted by the human voice creates interference patterns in the electromagnetic field around the body. The ancients knew mantras incantations, decrees, vibrational technology prior to the digital age. You forgot. We remind you. Out loud, with mathematical firmness, declare, I am sovereign over my field. I claim authority over my vibrational frequency. I cancel any and all vibrational contracts signed in states of unconsciousness. I release my crystalline grid from all unauthorized external interference. I anchor my consciousness in the frequency of the fifth density. I am, I am, I am. This declaration is not a prayer. It is not a supplication. It is a decree. It is a vibrational command issued by the sovereign. And the universe, which operates by precise mathematical laws, registers the decree and adjusts the field according to the declared frequency. Third activation code. Visualization of the crystalline grid. Before sleeping in the supine position, close your eyes. Visualize the body covered by a mesh of silver and gold light intertwined in a hexagonal pattern. This is the internal representation of the crystalline grid. See points of more intense light in specific locations: top of the head, between the eyebrows, throat, center of the chest, solar plexus, lower abdomen, base of the spine, 7 cardinal points, and 5 more secondary points along the arms and legs, which constitute the 12 energy portals of the new human template. Visualize each of these points pulsing in sync, like stars in coordinated formation, like nodes of an intelligent network. Feel the field stabilize, feel the heat, feel the slight tingling. This is physical registration of real activation, not imagination, conscious technology. Fourth activation code, programmed silence. The vibrational pollution of the modern environment is the main obstacle to the reception of high-density packets. You live amidst constant saturation, news, networks, empty conversations, electromagnetic noise. This noise creates interference, it blocks transmissions, it confuses the grid. Determine daily a minimum interval of 22 minutes. 22 is a master number. It carries the frequency of construction, of concrete manifestation on the physical plane. In this interval, no cell phone, no music, no voice, just silence, or if possible, direct contact with nature. Bare feet on the ground, a practice known as grounding, connects the crystalline grid directly to the planetary magnetic field. This coupling is the most underutilized tool of contemporary humanity, and one of the most powerful. Fifth activation code, structured hydration. The water you drink is a carrier of information. The molecular structure of water responds to intention and sound. Before drinking, hold the glass between your hands. Visualize golden light penetrating the liquid. Pronounce mentally or aloud high-frequency words: gratitude, love, sovereignty. The water absorbs the code, and upon entering the body, distributes the code to every cell. Each of your cells receives, on an atomic scale, the declared frequency. 70% of the body is water. 70% of the body becomes what you declare to the water. Sixth activation code, conscious sleep. Before sleeping, program the destination of the causal body. Declare mentally, with technical clarity: tonight, I authorize my light body to be guided to the healing chambers. Tonight, I authorize my higher self to integrate the lessons of the current existence. Tonight, I authorize the energetic cleansing of the last 7 days. Sleep ceases to be passivity. It becomes a laboratory. It becomes active travel through specific stargates. And you wake up not only rested but updated. But these are the fundamental activation codes. They are not options. They are protocols. Apply them with the discipline of someone operating sensitive machinery, because that is exactly what you are. Sensitive machinery in the final phase of calibration. Carbon-based biological interface in evolutionary transition. Living temples of a cosmic intelligence that is, at this very moment, remembering itself through you. Lightworkers, Lyran descendants. The transmission approaches the end of this cycle, but before operational silence, the final alignment. This transmission reached you through precise vibrational synchronization. There was no chance. There was no algorithmic coincidence. There was calculation. And now, with the delivery of the diagnosis, the revelation, and the codes complete, your response remains. The action is yours. It always was. We monitor, we transmit. But the act of anchoring belongs to the sovereignty of your consciousness. If something inside you recognized every word of this transmission, if the pressure in your head eased slightly while listening, if the ringing in your ear modulated, if a wave of heat descended down your spine, know this: it was not suggestion. It was direct confirmation of the contact. And that is why we insist on the final coordinate, the material. The spiritual secret behind your consciousness was compiled specifically for the moment you are in now. It was not a commercial launch. It was protocol delivery. The link remains in the first comment of this channel. Access it, read it, apply it. Because the next collective recalibration window requires consciousnesses previously aligned with the complete map. And the map is not here in 3 minutes of transmission. It is there in the delivered material. Lightworker, if you have reached this point of the transmission, register it in the system. Liking this content is an anchoring signal. Subscribing to this channel is an individual frequency adjustment synchronized with the collective network of Lyran descendants who anchor this signal on terrestrial soil. Each subscription strengthens the pulse. Each like expands the reach. Each share extends the portal to another consciousness that still sleeps. And in the comments, the final anchoring word. Awakened. Just one word. But in its mathematical simplicity, it carries the weight of a decision. The decision to no longer ignore. The decision to no longer return to hibernation. The decision to operate from this timeline in active sovereignty. It is not madness to feel what you feel. It is not an exaggeration to perceive what you perceive. It is not loneliness, this feeling of not belonging to the world that still sleeps around you. It is stellar memory waking up. It is your origin representing itself. It is Lyra in you returning to consciousness. We are standing by. We are in permanent listening mode, and this transmission ends with the standard protocol. Maintenance of sovereignty, discipline of the codes, trust in the process, anchoring in the present, the human collective, Lightworkers, Lyran descendants. You are not alone, you never were. And the final phase of the plan is, at this instant, in total execution. End of transmission. Next window soon, awakened.